Today I'm doing a formal analysis of the North Wall Detroit Industry Mural by Diego Rivera from 1932 to 1933. So to begin with, we're going to go over the elements of design. Lines. There are many lines used in the men's arms to show the motion and strength of the men. Most of the lines are very straight. The structured lines with machines to show the structure and steel. There's also a lot of implied lines with the men's eyes focusing on their work, and the lines of the arms shows really the tension between the men's arms and the machinery. There are many geometric shapes like squares and ovals and circles. Through here we have a lot of circles. We have lots of squares and rectangular shapes around the products and the ovular shapes. And then as well as the organic shape of the men's faces and bodies. So because this is a mural, it's just implied texture. There's a lot of implied texture on the steel and the fire, as well as the clothing. The clothing is pretty, you can get a sense of rough texture as well as the steel. So there's a lot of shading in different tones of color, which really add depth and value into the image. There's a lot of shading through here on the clothing, as well right here. And there's low contrast. Most of the colors are very similar to each other, and nothing really pops out that much. So most of the colors are primary colors, such as blue and yellow. There's also the bright pop of this yellow fire color up here. And most of them are very mute and neutral besides that bright color up there. So there's a lot of unity in the motion of the men. As you can see here, these men down here, they're all in the same motion, as well as these over here, which are in a different but same motion. And there's a lot of variety in the shapes of the machinery. Emphasis is mainly placed on the men working down here. You can see that they're a little bit larger and they catch your eye first off, and it really, the way that they are pushing and pulling really catches your eye. And the location really is to emphasize, with all of the machinery, you really know exactly where they're at. They're constructing the motor. But the subordination is also on the machines on the different levels, as well as you can kind of see up here, there's some little tiny men working up here and over here. They're not really focused on, so they're kind of just subordinate in the back. They kind of just blend in with the background. So directional force, with the principles of design, there's the arms of men. It shows, what way they're pushing or pulling. And then the eye direction of the men, which really, those implied lines show where their eyesight is focused on. There's a lot of repetition in the color and shapes. Most of the color is very yellow and blue. And this also creates the pattern of the machines with the colors and the shapes. And the directional force and the motion of the men really creates that rhythm in unity throughout the entire mural. So contrast, there's a lot of contrast with like the shapes of each individual machinery and size. A lot of these parts are smaller, and the ones up top are a lot bigger. And the contrast with the light blue steel color and that bright yellow color of the fire really makes it pop. And then lastly, for the principles of design, we have balance. This is asymmetrical. It's not exactly centered, as you can see over here. It's kind of more towards the left than it is the right. And it's 22 feet high and 73 feet wide, which is extremely, extremely large. And then here's my works cited.